What is going on, friends? Welcome back to another video. My name is Chris, or Harrybo41296, and today we're taking a bit of a history lesson focusing on the Rubiks brand and their history in all the time that I've been cubing. Most of you will know this if you're watching the video, but the Rubiks brand was designed and created by Rubik in the 1980s, and that is what started everything that we can call cubing today. While the Rubiks brand itself might not have changed, the whole idea behind Rubik's Cubes has evolved magnificently over time, and we have such a huge community now involving this little guy. Over the years, Rubiks has had its ups and downs, but it has also released brand new 3x3 cubes to kind of fit in with the modern cubing community. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys exactly how the Rubiks 3x3 has changed over the years. In this video, we're going to be focusing on three puzzles. The first one is the very first Rubiks brand that I ever purchased. Next, we have the Rubiks 2.0, a new style of Rubik's Cube that was released recently with tiles. And then finally, the most recent Rubiks 3x3 puzzle, the Rubiks branded Speed Cube. First of all, with the Rubiks brand, as you can see, it is stickered, unlike the other Rubiks products, and this is what it was like from the very beginning. And obviously most speed cubes nowadays do still use stickers, although colourless cubes have been released recently. This particular puzzle does not have any centre caps, and it doesn't contain springs or screws either. There is absolutely no way to tension this puzzle. Many of you will remember that when you unboxed a Rubiks brand back in the day, it would be impossible to turn it when it first came out of the box, and it would take so much effort to get it anywhere close to a speed cube. Enter the Rubiks 2.0. This is the brand new and remastered 3x3 by Rubiks that they recently released. I imagine they did this as a means of replacing the old branded Rubik's Cubes, which you could not tension and which turned really badly. This particular cube has not been lubricated since it came out of the box, and as you can see, it's not a bad turning cube, but it's also not the best. You still cannot tension this puzzle. There's no way of changing how it is, and it's actually very, very tight, and I have solved this quite a lot. You would expect it to have kind of sorted itself out. While it may not be the perfect speed cube, it is so much better than the original Rubiks brand, at least when it comes out of the box. I'm not entirely sure why Rubiks released this. They must have known they weren't making a world-class speed cube, but perhaps they were trying to make it more attractive to beginners or those that weren't too fast. So Rubiks has now released two different types of 3x3s. We have the original one and then the Rubiks 2.0. Both of which are not particularly good 3x3s in terms of how they turn. So what were Rubiks going to do next? They released the Rubiks Speed Cube. This puzzle came as a shock, definitely to me. I was never expecting Rubiks to kind of jump on the Speed Cube bandwagon and release a puzzle like this. The difference between this puzzle and the Rubiks 2.0 is that this puzzle can be tensioned. The grooves in these centre caps here can be removed, and then you can add springs onto the screws and tension the puzzle however you want. The 3x3 also came with some Rubiks branded lubricant which you could put into the 3x3. Unlike the Rubiks 2.0, this puzzle turns so much better than any other Rubiks brand. It has a very crisp feel to it, it feels quite light, and then the loose tensions allow for quite a bit of flexibility when you are solving. Another very interesting feature of the Rubiks Speed Cube is the ball core, something completely different from many of the speed cubes nowadays. The only other 3x3 I can compare it to is the MF8 Legend. The pieces themselves are also not quite as fluid as regular speed cube pieces, but as you can see, Rubiks is making a rather large effort to get with the modern conventions of regular speed cubes. Here we have the original Rubiks brand, and yes, it is a little bit worn down, but as you can see, the pieces are incredibly blocky, the centre pieces are literal squares, and there's not very much movement at all. As you can see, the pieces are also very blocky, very cube-like, and while these became the standard worldwide for Rubik's Cubes, they are very much outdated now. So as you can see, we have a rather large change from the original cube from the 1980s all the way up to the Rubik's Speed Cube. The Rubik's 2.0 was definitely a step in the right direction, but it wasn't quite what Rubik's needed in order to get the sales right. What Rubik's needed to do was create a much better branded Speed Cube that would be attractive to the world-class solvers. While the Rubik's branded Speed Cube is by no means a world-class cube, again it is definitely a step in the right direction to making the Rubik's brand a much more attractive choice for new cubers and those that simply want to solve it quickly. So guys, as you can tell, Rubik's has changed a lot over the years in order to fit in with this fast growing cubing community. I did a video on the Rubik's branded Speed Cube and I was pleasantly surprised by how good it was. I wasn't expecting it to be anything special at all. Anyway guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Sorry if it's been a bit boring. Many of you will not be interested in the Rubik's brand, but I just think it's a really cool transition from the 1980s puzzle to the modern day 3x3. If you have enjoyed this video though guys, please leave a like, leave a comment below if you want to know anything else about the Rubik's brand. I'll try and answer it, and then of course subscribe, and I will see you guys hopefully in the next video. Have an awesome day. See you soon.